welcome to Don't Drive By in a Bee. I'm Rick,
And I'm Marta.
and this is Max.
Max.
All right, today we're talking about something that we've had a lot of conversation about is how to pick out the right RV for you. If you've seen some of our older videos, we've had quite a few RVs.
Too many.
Yeah, from a
Too
class,
many.
from a Class A to a large fifth wheel, a 44-foot, and pulled by a diesel truck, and we've had small trailers.
A toy hauler, too.
We've had a toy hauler.
Was that a fifth wheel or a trailer?
Yeah, it was a kind of yeah. It was
We'll
a
ask
fifth
one of our
wheel,
friends.
basically.
We don't remember,
But
they
we
do.
pulled it with a thing because the ball was in the truck. But anyway, we've had a lot of different vehicles, and now, as you can see, we have a Class B Travato. And the last one we had was a 30-foot Class A Winnebago Vista, and we really liked that. One super slide on it. We really liked that too.
It was a nice Class A. That's just like we had a Spree, a KZ Spree
Uh-huh.
trailer that we really liked. You know, a lot of the things we had, many of them we really liked. Some of them not
so much. But you never know until you buy one. And
Or
you know they
as
say
they-
you can
Yeah.
set in them at the dealership
No.
and
rent.
and rent them and things like that, which we never did.
We
But
never rented.
we've taken our time and tried to figure out which one was the best. But things happen in your life and things change. And one of the things that changed for us is we went small at first, then we wanted more amenities when we were camping, so we went larger and larger. And then we didn't like the setup of the trailers and the fifth wheels,
Oh.
so we went to Class A's.
Oh, and I know another reason why we changed a couple of times. That's because my husband thought that we would just live in a trailer or a fifth wheel or whatever. And that wasn't going to happen for me.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
kept trying to
know.
convince her that we could live in it, and she liked camping in it, but she always wanted to have a home base. So even the nicer campers that we got, it wasn't enough to live in full time for her.
But if we ever had to, it wouldn't matter if this is smaller than those fifth wheels or whatever. If we had to live in it, we could,
Right.
you know?
So anyway,
It would provide, because we both love it, right?
right. So in all the vehicles we had, and all the RVs that we've had, we never, ever put this much mileage on one in a short period of time. Since we've had this Class B, well, with the Class A we had, that Vista, of course, we went to
Oh,
Quartzsite, and we went from Texas to
Laughlin
Quartzsite
and-
to Laughlin and Nevada, and then back, and we took a bunch of trips around Texas. We brought it up to
Yeah.
Nebraska once and back.
Yeah.
So we put a few miles on that one,
I bet
and then we went to
put,
Port Aransas with it.
I bet we put
9,000
on that
miles
in
on
a
it.
year
Yeah,
or whatever.
and that was in a year, and of course COVID hit, but that curtailed it a little bit. But we bought this Travato in February, right?
Yes, and this is mid-June.
Mid-June, and we've got 9,500 miles on it, and we bought it with 120 on it.
And we are still in Maine,
So
and
we've
we
got-
are traveling back to Nebraska. So
So you can,
we'll have more on
we'll
it.
have almost 12 to 13,000.
Well, no, not that much.
Yeah, we'll have 12,000 miles on it before
Before long.
before the 1st of July. So
Sorry,
we've definitely used this one a lot more because it's easy to drive. we're getting 17 and a half miles a gallon. You know, not pulling a trailer. I mean, 17 and a half miles a gallon. That is great.
Well, and if we were pulling our trailer, we would probably get about 15. And we do have a small, which you may have seen in another video, we do have a small utility, enclosed
Trailer.
utility trailer. And that has some of our camping equipment in it, since there's no outside storage on this one at all. But the other thing about this is the ability to park it. We've been
Anywhere.
places and just pull into
Regular
parking
parking lots.
spots.
Regular parking spots. And so we just went to see we just went to see the lighthouse, and we parked in the parking lot with the regular cars and everything, so that we had no trouble there. So we can go anywhere with this thing and park it anywhere. And the thing we were trying to get to is, we follow a lot of different people on YouTube. I follow them a lot, and I'm on the forum for Travato owners and wannabes, and some of the people that used to have Travatos, the guy with 30 and a Wake Up, and Chad and Paul, and Van Trekking, they all used to have Travatos, and then they went away from them, and two of them went to, one of them went to Storyteller, and the Chad and Paul went to Storyteller. Van Trekking went to a Revel, and 30 and a Wake Up, he went from a Travato, then he did a Storyteller for a little bit, but then that was just a rental, and now he's traveling like he did before. Well, people were giving them a bad time. Why did you leave Travato? Why did you do this? Well, things change in your life. Van Trekking, the reason they changed is because they wanted to go off-road a little bit more, and the Travato is lower. Even if you raise it up a little bit, you still don't have the four-wheel drive, and so they liked really going off-road, going way up into the mountains in the Virginia and North Carolina and in their area.
And this is about as
Off-road
rough
as we
and
go.
mountainous as we go, and this is in a campground, and that's why it's, but
And
we don't go off-road.
Chad and Paul, they got rid of their Travato, which they liked, but they went to a Storyteller, and they still have the Truma system and the lithium, and they do a lot of boondocking and stealth camping, and that fit their lifestyle then. So I can totally understand, because we've changed our minds and also changed our lifestyle for different things that we thought we liked, and we still liked them, but we changed our lifestyle.
Yes, and I also think that all of the aforementioned people that you can follow on YouTube, on their channels, I think they all liked their Travatos.
Yeah, they liked their Travatos,
Yeah,
but
so
it just
wasn't
didn't meet.
about that
Like
they
I said,
did.
Chad and Paul and Van Trekking, they wanted the four-wheel modification and the higher clearance, so they could go more off-road and deeper. Even though Chad and Paul don't really, they go stealth camping most of the time. They parking lots, things like that. That's like go small, live large with his Travato. I mean, he does campsites. He does go off road a little bit, but he's basically
Who's Go
urban.
Small, Live Large?
Yeah, the guy.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
so we watch him too, and we
We're
still
we're
watch him.
old. We're
We still-
maybe terrible with names.
Yeah.
We should be better. But
we
yeah,
watch them
Go
because
Small,
of their
Live Large.
personalities, and we like watching them and seeing where they're going. Now, Kevin in 30 Days in a Wake Up, he was a world traveler before COVID. After COVID hit, he decided to get a van and go through for a year in a van.
United States.
Yeah, the
you
United
know,
States
through
in
the
a
States.
van, which he was really good, and he did the Travato
Now-
and the 30, and now he's
He-
back to world traveling again.
And at one time, he and Go Small Live
Yeah.
Large met
Com-
up together, right?
Right.
And so you should see it, his Travato. If you haven't seen it, he has it like all painted.
Well, it was the
Up
National
or
Park.
something?
No, he had the
Oh.
National Park
Edition?
edition
Oh.
of the K, and
Okay. And a lot of theirs are the lithium. You know, right?
Go Small Live Large is he put the coating on his. He's got
That's
the
what
cowboy coating.
That's
and
what
stuff.
I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got a Jeep.
Yeah.
But anyway, we still watch those guys because things change in your life, and it's not what they're driving; it's what they're talking about. So that's why we watch them. Yeah, we don't have any plans right now to get rid of our Travato because we just love it, and we can. It's a second car to us. I mean, we have a small car, and then we have this Travato,
Yeah.
so we can do things in the Travato. It gets good mileage, and we can go places
Well-
and just park and camp.
Well, 16, 17 miles an hour. There's a number
Per
of
gallon.
vehicles like.
Per gallon, not per hour.
Oh, sorry. Per gallon.
Yeah.
No, per
Per
Mi-
gallon. Miles
per gallon. Miles per gallon. That's about as much as some regular pickup trucks. Or maybe other vans or something might get. It really is pretty good.
Yep.
Anyway.
So anyway, that's
Not as good as our little car, but we have a little car, and it's not a home on wheels.
no. But some of the things that we change all the time is we got different chairs. We use the bike rack instead of a bike rack. We use it to put our chairs in the little table that we got over here. We'll get that.
Well, they probably saw. But the thing is, why did we change chairs? Because for some reason, our other chairs, we were having so much trouble
It's hard to open.
opening and closing them and everything like that. So we decided just to get new ones.
Also, another thing.
They probably wear out, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Another thing is we put our
We
on the
moved
bike
that
rack.
around
Yeah, we
depending on
moved
what
this.
we're using.
Yeah, and we put the trasharoo back right here, but we also put this to hold our sewer because, of course, that one in the side is kind of useless because it's small holes and doesn't fit anything. So we use this
It's
now.
probably good for an extension, isn't
Yeah,
it?
this is good for the extension.
No,
The other one is,
the other one is good for an extension.
but we put that, so that's our bike rack. And I took up the things that hold the bikes because we're not taking bikes anywhere. So we just put our chairs in here. Table folds really nice into a half moon, and it goes on top, and then I strap it down. And we've gone everywhere, and it doesn't fall off.
And we have not strapped grandma or aunt anybody
On the top.
on the top of our roof.
No.
That's a
Chevy chase.
yeah. That's a what do you
vacation.
call it? A Chevy
sorry.
a oh,
Reference to the
well.
vacation.
Yes, to vacation.
And another thing we talk about is remember this ladder that Travato puts on here is absolutely kind of a waste because you shouldn't climb on this ladder because it's not supported very well, and that thing right there that bends. So they told us even at the factory where we picked this up, don't even use it at the dealer. So you got to take it up and you put it over here and then hook it to your, well, that's a waste of time. Don't like that at all. So we just don't absolutely lose our ladder at all. I think the new version has a foldable ladder. I think that's a good thing. The newer versions of 22s. This is a 21. Um, this has the Truma and the outside water fills and everything. I like that. We don't ever connect to water. We just fill the tank and then use our pump. And I think that's a wise thing to do. That way you don't leave water on. You don't have that pressure going to your stuff and all the time. We just fill up our tank, use our tank, and then flush it. Because we try to get that tank at least over half full and then flush it. And I think that's a good thing to do. So we don't hook up to water. There's our protection and everything. No, that's all part of this. It's all the part.
So why do we think that what type of RV people should buy? It all depends on what your wants and your needs are. And will that change, like when we were in our 50s to when we're in our 60s to when we're in our 70s? Yes, that could change, and it could change for any of you from, and some of you may be in your 20s or 30s.
Yep.
But
And that's what we're saying. It don't worry if you make a mistake.
did you check?
Don't worry if you make a mistake, and get something you like, and make sure you like it, because if you're spending the money, you don't want it sitting in your driveway or your backyard and you never go anyplace. Oh, we can't take it out. Oh, the reason we got away from travel trailers is because at 72, for me to bend down and hook up the bars, the tow bars, and hitch them and unhitch them and get the stuff. My hands.
What are those things? Those
sway bars,
equalizers. Sway bars?
That it was too much for me to get down on the ground and get back up. I mean, it took an army to get me back up if I was on the ground. So we couldn't do that anymore. So
and when it came to the Class A's, when it gets, when something gets 4 to 6 miles a gallon, which I really feel like that's what they got.
Yeah, it was 7 to 8.
Oh, they might have gotten up to 8 on a good day. But
the Winnebago got 8.
It did as well as any that we've had. But the thing is, it's like we were like reluctant to take it out, because it might be $400.
Fill that baby up. We could go a long way, but it just always seemed, even though you could go a long way,
it didn't seem like it.
At 80 gallons of gas, and you went quite a ways, but every time you stopped at that tank and just watched it ring up, it was just not fun. So anyway, this is what we're really
easier on the gas budget.
Gas budget and just fun to drive. We love it.
I drove it for a little bit one time.
Yeah.
Already.
On the straightaway.
Yeah, on the straightaway. I went 20, 30 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So some of that mileage, I went 20 or 30 miles of it driving. Oh, look, there's a little groundhog.
Yeah.
Or they call them ground squirrels.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, ground squirrel.
But anyway, so getting back on subject, no matter how many RVs it takes, find the right one. I mean, sometimes we lost money trading them in, but it was worth trading them in because we were using it anyway. There was something we didn't like. We had one small trailer that we really liked, but you couldn't sleep in the thing because it had so many vents.
No,
Or
not
the
vents.
doors, the way it was built, the Murphy bed was
Gaps,
right over
maybe.
gaps, and you'd freeze at night. So you didn't know that unless you slept in it, overnight.
At the
You would have
time
never
of
known
year, see, even if had we, rented something like that, you would have to know because the time of year, the weather,
Yeah.
those
When it got
particular
down to
nights
40 degrees,
or whatever, was going on, was, windy, you know.
we should have had a clue when the bed came with a heater. Remember the heating blanket?
Oh, yeah.
Came with that. So that should have gave us a clue that it got cold. So anyway, we loved the trailer. We couldn't sleep in it when it was below 40. So you froze to death. So anyway, we've had a lot of trailers. We've had a lot of experience. So write us and
Yeah, maybe they
tell
can
us
tell
what you have and if you like it.
and what your favorite is.
Yeah, what kind of trailer is your favorite? Because a lot of people that are living them in full time, of course, you're going to want a bigger trailer, But there are people that live in Bs full time also, but they know that lifestyle. So would we recommend everybody living in a Class B? No, because you have to save space, you have to save water, you have to be able to move out of each other's way because you're in close quarters all the time. But what we find for our lifestyle is when we travel in the B, we're good. When we sleep in the B, we're good. When we eat in the B, we're good. But if we're staying someplace for a while, we spend most of our time outside. We don't spend a lot of time inside the B except at night and in the morning.
I spend a lot of time in the
She
beach
spends a lot
because
of
I
time.
have a lot of allergies and I'm allergic to outside.
But you go
I
outside
go
all the time.
outside.
So, and also,
But it doesn't matter. The thing is, if it's something that you're living in full time, and some people do, like you said, live in them full time, and I think they call themselves minimalists. For us, we're not planning to live in it full time. We have another home, and so if I were living full time in one, I don't like traveling the roads in some great big monster.
this is easier. It's easier to get in and out
Yeah.
and miss those. So you could, if you go on the interstate or anything, you can still get over instead of having 40 foot to get over. So, following you. So anyway, hope you
Yeah.
enjoyed this. We got off
Thank you.
subject a little bit, but don't worry about it.
Thank you for watching. If you liked it, be sure to
Give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And remember, watch us. Don't drive by in a B. And we're also on
no,
Instagram.
That's okay. Oh, somebody
Don't
saw
drive
the
by.
ground squirrel. Okay.
Uh-oh. And Max says goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
What?
Thanks for watching us. As you notice now, we've changed our name to Entering the Senior Zone, and that's what most of our videos are going to be about. So, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you'll subscribe and share. Watch us on Instagram. Same thing, Entering the Senior Zone. See you next time.